frequency that allows us to touch base with the musical grace of the past, whose contributions will forever, 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 forever last. Can you dig it? Hey, hey, listen up. What's that, the bird? Charlie Parker, I heard, grooving on the rhythm from a famous melody called Cherokee. Listen, listen. Was that Thelonious Monk playing round midnight? Man, that's out of sight. Hey, Louis Armstrong. He's playing his trumpet and he's singing. I got the G.B.T.V. So, baby. What a song. Now, check this out. Digging cats like this, how can one go wrong? Good gracious, yes, it's a vivacious, sassy Sarah Vaughan, doing up round Ramirez's masterpiece, and lover of a man, like only she can. Did somebody holler, hey, it's Back Squad, and he's pounding those 88 keys, for he aims to please the Johnny Jumpin', the Johnny Jumpin', the Johnny Jumpin'. Say, Jack, there's Duke Ellington, riding really straight horns, ain't training, and doing what he does best with no strain. Dig, Dizzy Gillespie with a big grin and horn in hand, getting ready to take the stand and do my yeah, baby. Oh, I thought I heard that great trumpet player, Buddy Bolden, say, I'm gonna play all night and day, cause I love jazz, and it's here to stay. Yes, the vibes are here, circulating from the walls, floor and ceiling. I said walls, floor and ceiling, giving us that beautiful feeling for our jazz ancestors are here in the house, and will forever be, don't you see? Don't you see? House vibes. Can you dig it? Yeah. Now let's jump on back to the blues. Let me tell you something about the blues. Now the blues started a long time ago, way before it was given a name that gave it fame. It started with the moans and groans of our ancestors who were taken from that land for reasons they couldn't understand. It was nurtured by the whip on that long journey on the wooden ship, which brought them here to the Western Hemisphere, where they were sold to the highest bidder. They were branded with a hot iron. Yes, they were. Which made them the child of a certain person, which meant a life of unbearable strife. They fought doing everything under the sun, and to ease the pain, to ease the pain, to ease the pain, to ease the pain, they sang until the day's work was done. Yes, this was the start of what is now called blues. Yes, it was the creation of those who paid a heavy dues. Now, let me tell you something. In 1863, the brothers and sisters were set free, but not to live in prosperity. Jim Crow became the new game, and it was used to degrade, defame, and keep those of color. Keep those of color, keep those of color, keep those in color in line. But, to everybody's surprise, it didn't stop the rise of Americans of the darker hue, but rather gave impetus to the singing songs that are now called blues. Now things really got rolling by 1922, the year that the blues singer Manny Smith was doing you dig? And singing blues with the utmost emotion, showing devotion for those who will be before her, and setting in motion a legacy for those who will follow her. And line has gone down since the beginning, and you can better bet. The story isn't finished yet, so get yourself, I said get yourself together, morning glory, and listen to the blues, because it tells the history of those soul brothers and sisters who have paid mucho blues. Can you dig it? 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 The blues, 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 the blues. Talking about the blues now. I'm gonna tell you, Mr. Blues. Mr. Blues is the person that put this thing together. And his name is Emmett Williams. But they call him Mr. Blues, cause he has bass from heavy, heavy dudes. He's been through both the thick and thin of hard times, never knowing if they would ever end. But by the grace of the great omnipotent creator, he weathered the storm. And now once again, there's a pep, 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 pep in your step. Come on, Mr. Blues. Walk, 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 baby. Put that pep in your step. There you go, there you go. Come on, Mr. Blues. Pep in your step. Put that pep. I can dig it, I can dig it, I can dig it. However, he still remembers the many years of pain and strain he endured from sun up to sundown, crying his heart out with no one around. Now, somehow, without really trying, a certain feeling came in, bubbles up from deep within his soul, which propels him to sing songs, some that are old, some that are new, but all are truly blue. Yes, 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 Emmett Williams has the right to sing the blues, because he has indeed, can you dig it, paid his dues. So come what may, come what may, come what may, you too can come through if you are blue. But until that day, you know what he means when he sings a song with the plain blue but haunting refrain. Life for him ain't been no game. Now what's his name? His name is Mr. Blues, baby. Mr. Blues, Mr. Blues. Everybody's talking about Harlem. Wait, Harlem. This is Harlem town. Everybody remembers Harlem. Harlem is jumping now, but it was a time when Harlem was jumping in the days of old. And this is in commemoration of the way Harlem was in the days of old. Can you dig it? Now back in the days of old Harlem, baby, Harlem, where we standing right now, was the home of jazz soul. There was no need to go downtown because all the happenings were uptown. That's why hip people came from miles around to dig the sound of jazz and all that rest of jazz. So it's not necessary to explain why do play take the A train, because it was the quickest way, can you dig it, to get to Harlem, baby. Quickest way to get to Harlem. I mean, Harlem is jumping, 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 Harlem is jumping. Believe me when I tell you now. 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 Harlem was jumping. All in all, everybody had a ball, and it's nice to recall when Harlem was really jumping. And these are some of the places that were jumping, and you may recall them. Yes, you may. And if you did say yes.
All of me. Why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you? Take my lips. I want to lose
so much. Jazz Pizzazz, and so many organizations in Brooklyn, and Shooby-Dooby. Always Shooby-Dooby. For those of you who may question that the awards are for people from Harlem, I'm from Harlem. 129th Street, across the street from Wells, 149th Street, 145th Street, and grew up with Allen Clayton Powell too.
Also, entrepreneurs.
Joe Carroll's friends and fans, they're going to tell the story. You're going to record it, and then we're going to, Michael Howard and some others, they're going to put it in the book. Sound good? The first one is here tonight, and he's a fellow of AMERIKAN. In Brooklyn, we have inducted him into the Central Brooklyn Jazz Hall of Fame because he deserves to be there. And you'll hear more when he receives his award. I thank you, Mr. Blues. I thank Harlem. It's still the place.
Being here for accepting the award. And by the way, before you accept the award, give us a little background on one of the greatest singers this past century, your sister, CultureShare. How's she doing?
She's not doing too well right now. She's sort of, well, not doing well. Not doing well.
Well, thank God we still have her recordings to keep us, because she was one of the true greats in this business.
Initiated the drive for the Duke Ellington commemorative stamp. I was the president in 1976 and 77. The Duke Ellington commemorative stamp was issued on April 29th, his birthday in 1986, 10 years prior, succeeding my presidency. So, but I'm...
Did you also work with Bobby Short on getting the statue?
Yeah, no. Bobby Short, I know Bobby Short, but he came to me as the president of Duke Ellington side. He wanted to know about the statue. I told him, mine, a lot of brain work. I didn't raise money. He raised about $1 million, yes. So I give Bobby Short a lot of credit, but he asked me how to do it. I don't know about the raising money. Mine was brain work. All right, please. Now I'd like to say, I hope Mr. Blues is here. Is he coming in? Fine, he made it because he gave me this song. I'm a singer. I'm doing a show at Danny's Skylight Room on February the 7th. I've got some flyers here. And it'll be my 8th performance at Danny's Skylight Room. I've been to the Iridium, where I won the Singer of the Year in 1998. Thank you. And now this song, my brother, Mr. Blues, told me about this song. Now it's an old song, but I've sung almost all over the world. I've never done this song before. Maybe it's much too early in the game. But I thought I'd ask you just the same. What are you doing, New Year's? New Year's
have some praise. Thank you for being here, my friend. It must have been a real treat to have worked with so many legends of all these years. How did you first get into business?
Well, originally I'm from Brooklyn. Well, rather than go into the very beginning, I will say that I was asked by another Brooklynite to come to Harlem to work in an after-hours spot on 133rd Street called Covan's. And in those days, this is in 1940, in those days, Harlem was really something. It was just about the end of the Renaissance, and practically every day was New Year's Eve, actually in Harlem, in the entertainment business. And I worked in Covan's, and incidentally, I'm sitting next to Alma Carroll, and her husband was working across the street on 133rd Street in an after-hour place called Dickie Wells. And so that's where I met him, and met so very many of the celebrities of the day, you know. They used to have sessions in various spots all over Harlem. That they had the piano players would come up and have contests, you know, like Willie the Lion would say, "Get up, you don't know what you're doing." You know?
Yeah, but I had on my show this past week Oscar Peterson, and he told the story of when he was performing at a club. He had a running gag with the bassist. What's the bassist?
Ray Brown.
Ray Brown, thank you. And whenever Oscar Peterson, Ray Brown would say to him, Tatum is in the house. You know, just to make him nervous.
Right.
Oscar would say, "But you're just kidding." So they were on stage one night, and Tatum really did come into the room, and he said, "Tatum's here," and Peterson turned around and saw him. He said he played better than he's ever played before. So yeah, those are great stories back then.
Oh, so many.
As
a matter of fact, talking about Oscar Peterson, that's how I met Oscar Peterson in Montreal in 1943, I think it was. And he was playing in a club. And this was an unusual spot because, you know, Harlem has always had reefer and all of that stuff. So as you walk into this particular spot, they had a water pipe with tributary stems, and the whole pipe, the whole place was full of, you know, pot. So you take a stem and you boom, so. Anyway, going back to Harlem, it was inconceivable what was going on, you know. In music, particularly, you know, and everything, yes. The whole culture was...
and very positive, very uplifting.
Oh, it was quite, I mean...
As opposed to what we see today.
Oh, absolutely, and people were proud of their appearance, and they were dignified, and...
Well, they were ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, absolutely, they were wonderful.
Yeah, that's very... Well, we are very grateful that you're here and share some of your memories with us. And please accept this award on behalf of Hugh Hackman, Mr. Leonard Gaskin. Put your hands on the Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. To all the riders. Please accept the award. You know, you have been doing so many great things. Just walking into your store and looking at the great photographs on the wall is just a real treat. How did you come about getting your record store? How did that whole story start?
Well, that's a long story.
Sure, give us a synopsis.
Well, I like to say, I was born in South Carolina. It's my home, Union, South Carolina. And our family had a farm. I was a farm boy. And in the hot sun, in the shade, and whatever, we had everything there. but I wasn't at heart a farmer. You know, I was looking to do other things. I finished grammar school. That was all the country kids had, was grammar school, 7th grade. And I told my mother I wanted to get a high school education. I had to walk 6 miles a day to get to school and 6 miles to get back home.
Now you sound like my father.
And I did that for 4 long years, 12 miles a day walking. And
That's dedication.
54 students in my class. Some was, you could throw a rock and hit the house from the school steps right there.
Yeah.
But I was 6 miles away. I graduated number 1 in the class, 54 students. And that got me fired up. One thing led to another. And I just knew that it was nothing, that it wasn't the place for me, you know. A small little town. And
You had victory.
yeah, I finally came to New York. I made my mind to come to New York.
Approximately what year?
1937.
Okay. And you go to Harlem?
Yeah, I came to New York and I didn't know my way around, and I had to.
A small town farm boy to fix it.
Yeah, and so I got settled, and finally I became a New Yorker over a long period of time.
So when you first got to New York, did you know you wanted to have a record store? Did you know you
No, the record store was way later. I was in New York for 7 years when I got here. I worked in Tomford's a restaurant on the corner of 125th Street. That was my first job. I worked there 3 years, and then I worked downtown and whatnot. And then I was drafted into the Army. And that was like the end of the world for me. I was drafted into the Army, and I went to Texas and took training in California and whatnot. And finally went overseas. We ended in Honolulu. And so.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, you know, it was a thing where it was one of the greatest things of my life. I didn't want to go. I have to be honest. I didn't want to go.
But what you got?
Yeah. So I went there, and as things developed, since I was from New York, most of the guys were country boys from different sections, and they all.
But you started in the country, though, right?
Huh?
And then came to New York.
Yeah.
So they were all your.
Yeah. Right, and everybody wanted me that I'd become to the soldiers in New York.
Right.
So they wanted me to be in charge of the direction of entertainment. You know, guys sat there, you know, facing the army, nothing to do. They called from Honolulu, they take jungle training to go to fight. You know what I mean? So they didn't know if they would come home or what. You know what I mean? So they wanted entertainment. So I developed entertainment, dancing.
Okay, how did you do that?
Huh?
What did you first do? How did you first start entertaining?
Well, no, I just get guys together who did something, you know. Everything from fist fights to dancers and to singers. I had all kinds of programs, and the guys could finish.
A real bottom of the daily.
All right, I don't want to spend the day talking about
but this man has a story to tell. Because truly, Bobby's record store is a legend in this town. So we're going to get to that. Let's get to Bobby. How did you get to the record store?
All right, I came back to New York in 43, and war ended, and I came back to New York, and I was doing the war. Guys that gambled at night like Las Vegas, big payday. I didn't know how to gamble. So all I did was lend money. I lent it for nothing. The guys gave me a few dollars here and there.
A loan shot.
Loan shot. I paid $86 a month, and I loaned out the money because I had nothing to do with it. So I signed and said, well, listen, I don't know how to gamble. I don't make the money this way, and I loan money. I don't make the money that way. So I changed. I'll charge them. I started off with a quarter, and a little, we kept on going. We got 50 cents on the dollar, and finally guys started to leave to go to the front. And some of the money I wouldn't get because some of the guys would be gone. So I had to raise to 75 cents on the dollar. I worked on that a lot. And it got a little worse. Well, shit, a lot of guys go on front. So I'm gambling because if they go to the front, they forget about me, you know. So I never loaned over $10. And I finally got up $1 on the dollar. So I came home with $6,500.
Not bad. Not bad.
So I'm getting to how I got the store. I came back this time and I looked around. I figured I got this money here, and you know, like a lot of guys that came home crying and broke, just spent all the money. They had nothing, you know. They didn't know. So I said, well, since I got this money, I want to go into business. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, I'll try, you know what I mean? So it was a little store on 125th Street there. Two Jewish fellows, older people, were doing the wall. They made women could buy 2 hats a year, 2 pair of shoes, 2 dresses, whatever. Everything was limited. You know, you had to have a card to show it. And stuff. So they had a machine that they made women's hats. And especially around Easter, everybody wanted big hats with flowers in it. So they were very busy. They made hats, $50 a piece. So when the war ended, Mason, all the big stores had hats for $3.98. So I know they couldn't. So I approached them, the 2 old brothers, they were in the 70s at that time, Jewish brothers. So I approached them and told them, I said, I see you fellows are not doing any business here, so before you move out, I'd like to know who the landlord is. I'd like to try to get this store available, you know? So he said, well, young man, you got us, we ain't gonna leave. He said, we ain't gonna give you, we stopped working. He said, but, you know, we own the lease here on the store. I said, yeah. So he said, if you can get up if you can get up $2,500, we'll sell you the lease. We'll take you downtown to the landlord and make sure he gives you the lease before we take the money.
Approximately what year was it?
That was 46. Okay. 46. So 1946. Yeah. So I went in and I got together with $2,500. I never heard of buying a store before. I thought they were just leave the store. You know what I mean? But it wasn't like that. I went on there. They were there. And the landlord gave me this lease, and I came up, and I opened that store. I didn't know where I was going to come in, but I opened the store and put in records. And the war had been 3 or 4 years, and people were hungry for music. You know, no records were made, nothing was made in that year. So everybody got together, everybody was getting for records. So I was into the record business, you know.
But how did you end up, you were really responsible for making a lot of the black singers back in the day.
Yeah. Well, that's how I got started. I didn't have any idea about making records. I didn't know anything about making records or anything. I just sold records over there. You know, everybody come up to me, and I had the records, and I get them. And so since I was so near the Apollo Theater, the owner store there, incidentally, the first black store on 125th Street, from New Jersey to Long Island. And now I'm the last one. All gone.
Yeah.
Can the artists get it to there in the show there? Can they help us in there? So I had a job that I didn't ask for. You know, I played the records and I'd see what started happening. You know, I'd let them know, and they would send me on a bunch of records, and I would go to Mr. Shipman, the Apollo Theater, and tell him this record's getting very big.
And he would bring in the particular artist.
Yeah, and I'd get the artists into the Apollo Theater. So everybody knew me. I get them in there. So Frank's Restaurant.
So you were responsible for bringing in acts to the Apollo then because of you were playing their records
That's right.
And another party. Get your hands together. Have a good time. Have a good time. Come on. Because I came to party. I earned today. I've been working too long to get you here. Now you're here. I heard the blues. There's good rockin' tonight. Got a hold my baby tight as I can. Let her know I'm a hell of a man. I heard the blues. Everybody's rockin' tonight. You got the blues. There's good rockin' tonight. So hold your baby tight as you can. Let her know, brother, you're a hell of a man. I heard the blues. Everybody's rockin' tonight. Get in the alley behind the barn. Don't be afraid, I'll do you wrong. Please, baby, bring your rockin' shoes, 'cause I'm gonna rock away all the blues. You heard the blues. Everybody's rockin' tonight. Yeah, listen. Down around, naked girls, lay up and left their happy homes. Baby here, wait and see, a humble little girl, Julie, when you got the blues. Everybody's rockin' tonight. Place called
And we had a dream and no money. But we had a successful first year. We had Charles Ward, Marie Elliott on 155th Street, Max Lucas we awarded that year, and a few other people, Bob Cunningham. Then it went over so well that we decided to have another year. That was last year. Now this is our third year. And I want to thank you guys out there for encouraging us to keep it going. We want to do it again next year. We're going to need your participation again. So I thank you for coming out. Now moving right along. Yeah, it's been many moves. You want to give us a little introduction about who you are and where you came from?
Well, first I want to give honor to God for keeping me this long. And behind that, I'm a South Carolinian, like my friend and brother Bobby Robinson. He's from Union, and I'm from Jonesville. That's about 20 miles apart.
Oh, it's right around the corner.
Right around the corner. And
Because he walked 12, so he...
well, see, he walked 12 and I walked 8.
Oh,
So we know what walking is.
yeah.
And I thank God I'm still able to walk, see. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And I was a blues singer for years.
Mr. Bill Saxon, come on up here and get your award. Look like no money. Yeah. I told my partner about you now. That's what you're gonna. I know he's at Friday nights. You can always catch him at the pub, St. Nick pub uptown here. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I think that I'm pretty sure actually I'm probably the last musician that was born in Harlem Hospital. You know, that reached some kind of renowned recognition for many things, particularly music. I first got exposed to music, I went to Frederick Douglass Junior High School there, and that was my first introduction to music. Although I couldn't play very well, I used to watch the fingerings of the other people and I used to follow them. But later, in 1964, I think, when they had the Harlem Riots, that's when I got my first saxophone. I had a movie camera, he had a saxophone. We traded, that's how I got it. Later, after that, I think it was in 65. I got in more trouble, I was incarcerated. I learned how to play the saxophone while incarcerated. I didn't have much discipline, so I had to be, in a situation like that. I taught myself how to play with the help of other musicians that were there with me, and came out, and been playing ever since. I always had a good ear. I heard a lot of music. I used to listen to Bobby's record store. The record stores in Harlem used to play music through speakers. So I got a chance to hear it. A lot of people were soaking into my subconscious mind, so much so that later on when I started to play professionally, guys said, well, do you know this? I didn't know the name of the song. But they started playing, I could play the song because I heard it so much.
How'd you like that? All right, now here, let's continue what Bill started. I have started training Ashante from day one about this jazz and blues. I tell you the story, we know he loved to dance. So I had a gig over in the Riverbank Park one day and I was babysitting. So I figured I'd take little Shante with me and he'd get to dance with the singers over there. So he went. So I said, you want to sit down here and dance? He said, no, Grandpa, I'm gonna come on the stage with you. So I said, well, you can sit right there. And so the music started and then everybody's clapping and I'm at the mic, I can't do anything. So I looked, there's little Shante. He's doing his thing. Dancing. So I said, and ever since then, as a matter of fact, Bill, he started out making $54. He's the only one got paid. This guy made $50 and after that, boy, and he had another gig, and he only made $10, he was mad. Yeah, so Shante, thank you, and I got a surprise for you. You know, he's been with us now about 2 years on the stage. And he has said, Dad, I'm gonna get something. So last night, I stayed up the other night and put this award together for him. And I packaged it, and he said, I know this. I said, no, that's for somebody else. So Ashante, we call him a little Shanti. Got a little girl out there named Ashante, so we call him Little Shanti. Thank you for all the marvelous things that you've been doing. Okay?
The first thing I want to say is thank you, God. The next thing I want to say is thank you for my grandfather right here, and that's it.
I knew she was a promoter, and also she was a composer. And not only that, she was a community person. Because I understand that even when she was ill on her bed, to the last day, people were calling, and she was helping them with their problems. And that's deep. When a person like that comes, that means they really love their people. And I think it's appropriate today from us from Hacking in a musical sense, but larger than music itself, we want to extend love to her family. And at this time, I'd like to call a husband to the stage, Mr. Michael Howard. But this particular symbol, I think this particularly, actually I ran across, I accidentally came across it. And how I came across this symbol, I used to have a friend in Africa, in Ghana, and he was trying to teach me a common language and science. He used to write me, and he sent me this list of different signs. And I remember we started this event 3 years ago, and I didn't find this sign until about a month ago. I was reviewing some of his material, I came across this sign. So what it is, it says, Impoom Animal, which means the wealth and beauty of Africa. So we're African people. It tells about our wealth. We have given the world a lot of wealth. So we're not poor, may not have no money, but we have given the world something more valuable than money. So we are wealthy. So let's give ourselves a round of applause. This is what this is all about, recognizing ourselves as being important people. And this just, Michael, just a tidbit of what I'd like to share with you and Torre. I just hope she's listening. I know she is. She's looking down on us. But I want you to know that she earned that, and I'm just happy that I was able to put this together for people like yourselves. So we thank you. And, let's be strong and everything will be okay. We got you back. Okay. I think he's working tonight, so he can't stay much longer. I don't want to hold up, but I can't afford to pay me. So.
But it's been a great education of the people that you brought up here.
Yes.
And so, hey, I can live with that.
Okay, good. You ain't got no money, but I can give you that. Though.
That's okay.
Now, let's say this word. Now, on behalf of Uhakum, again, that's the funny, I don't know if I want to explain the words, but Uhakum stands for Harlem's Unsung Heroes of African American Classical Music, which is the jazz and the blues. Right, that's what it is. Classical music, ain't just ordinary music. It's classical music. And Danny, this is for you, from us, from the people, for your dedication and your musical ability that keep us all happy and keep our spirits alive. And we would appreciate that. So we're going to present this wonderful award to you. Now he's a community person. In fact, he plays shows at the New Amsterdam Musician Association. What do you do, Saturdays, Fridays? Monday nights.
7 to 11.
You tell me.
Every Monday night from 7 till 11 at the New Amsterdam Musical Association. That's 107 West 130th Street. And we're also there on Saturday night. We have the spoken word poetry sessions. And
yeah, this is strictly from the neighborhood here. Used to play in that old La Familia a lot. And those Sunday nights used to get over there and jam. And all the clubs in Harlem, he played there. And you know, sometimes we all get a break. Some get a little more break than others. But somehow we just keep chugging along, you know? The music just keep you going. You want to quit, but you can't quit. And this is one of the gentlemen that's been going along like the bunny. Just keep going along and going along. He's been putting out a lot of beautiful music. And Victor, we want to say to you, for your hard work. I know it's a lot of dedication. I know you've been working real hard. And I am proud to present this award to you this evening.
I think we started somewhere, it started somewhere around 1905. Is that right, Johnny? 1905. 1905. Yeah, that's when the association started. The building was bought in 1922, and we're still at the same location, 107 West 130th Street. And as Johnny told you, we have open mic on Monday nights. There are other private activities during the week. And on Saturdays, they have the poetry and the spoken word.
It's my pleasure and the band's pleasure. We had to spend a lot of time with this guy, you know. But it was fun. But I want to let you know that we really enjoy, I really enjoy your music. We're going to do a solo. You don't like to do too many solos, it's kind of quiet, you know. But it can get down. But anyway, we're going to let you know from Hackam, because he was there when we started. In fact, the whole band was. I want you to know that I am proud and honored to present you with this 2002 award from Hackam. And this is really a present. So you can see, we got a lot of stars in our neighborhood. We've been trying to put them all together so we can appreciate them for the hard work that they do, the dedication. Again, from Hackam to you, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this award. It means probably more to me than any award I've ever won. It's my first one. So thank you.
Happy New Year and happy Kwanzaa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I also want to say one more thing that about history. You see, we learn these things as children.
I was born in Harlem Hospital, and I played, I'm a late bloomer. I started playing when I was about 25 years old. Like Bill Saxon, you know, went the way of the roundabout way. But Joe Jones Jr. was my, Joe Jones Jr., your Papa Joe's son, was my teacher. And I played in various different groups with various different people.
to get this award. And it's one of the few people in this community that you can depend on. Call Patrick anytime, Gay, you will be there. So Patrick, it's my honor and great pleasure to present this HARLEM Awards to you. And as a matter of fact, he was at the first opening. So it took you 3 years to get one, but you got it, right? And I'm really proud.